even taken Overpass off of Movistar, making it look super easy. I mean, you might think maybe Movistar aren't great at Overpass, and you'd be slightly right with this new lineup, as it's not their best map by any means or anything. But all of the Movistar lineups that I can remember have been able to play Overpass, and some of them have been absolutely incredible on it. Even though this one isn't quite as well, quite as high up there, rather, I would still say that's an impressive win. So let's get into the pistol round. We don't have much of an option, of course, as it already kicks off on your screen. We're going to have a 3-man connector peak coming in. And initially, it's going to be the Glocks to go ahead and punish. A second kill coming in from Chop. Will they clear this close corner? They will indeed. Chop has them all. Chopping them down in connector, indeed. Ricky's going to see what he can recover now, but he's just being pushed by so many players that surely one is the max he can get away with. And that's not even going to be allowed. It's all Chop getting it done on his own. Can the ace come his way? Yeah, it can apparently. I think they were. Everyone else going to stop shooting for a sec. Like, hang on, lads. Let's let him have the ace.
Oh my goodness, well, that's one way to kick us off, huh? Goodness me. Chop with 5 kills. That is most certainly an ace on the T-pistol round. Getting every single player on order. They say stacked connector, and he just took all of them down. Even peeking toward that player in long bathroom as well. When you have one player long bathroom and a connector stack, you would expect that usually to go in the CT's favour on a pistol round, but RBG, and mainly Chop, has just run them over completely. What about that for a start? Incredible stuff. And,
did they land any damage?
Kick us off. I don't know. I don't think so. I think only a bit of maybe a tag from Ricky long bathroom, right? I think that was it. And well, that is damage also. But it's just take the head off of Hex as he creeps his way up towards short. That is a bit of a moving Deagle headshot there. I'm not entirely sure if that was entirely by skill, but he was still in the right place, so it all matters. But yeah, as you say, Dean, this is going to be a fascinating series. I'm excited to see how these two pan out. I reckon it could be a bit of a barn burner, of course. They are playing for elimination. Don't forget, RBG got here through Premier in North America. And the same for Order, except it was the ESL Oz and New Zealand Championships, of course. But because looking for Order, we've already made Pro League through Premier. Order awarded their spot in this league. And we get to see whether Ricky can defend on the site. It's a great frag from Jitter, and he gets a second as well. And I think they know where Ricky is. He's going to do some damage and actually manages to get that one kill. No more than that. And they figured out where Vexite was pretty quickly. Only still remaining. He's toward long, not being checked for as of yet. Could have a couple of kills in the back. There's one. And he has the health to work with here to possibly go for this clutch. He doesn't have a defuse kit picked up. They're going to swing him, but Wiz deals with it. It will be the clean 2-0, but only just.
Yeah, not incredibly clean. Definitely could have been better. I'm excited, though, with the way that the veto has gone down here, especially with the first 2 maps, maybe not the third, but with Overpass and Dust 2 in there to see the op battle between Ricky and Wiz. That should be fun. Yeah. Ricky was looking pretty decent the last day. Heavy back in on the rifles again for RBG, obviously prioritizing making sure that they're not going to have any weaker weapons going into the following gun round. But considering now they've bought back into rifles on everyone, they've got to make sure they don't lose too many players here. Even just 2 or 3 kills from Order would be fantastic. It'd set them up really well going into the opening gun round to potentially just trash that economy for RBG. The problem is, they don't really have a lot to get that damage done right now. CZ a flash of Zeus. And, well, not a great position, I don't believe, for Ricky either. Not really being there as they push out a monster. He was instead in towards Connector. It's Valiance on the Deagle. That will be able to get a small bit there as they start to push forward. He takes out Chop, the man who was obviously able to get it all done back in the pistol round. He's denied adding any more to that frag count for now. Gyra, though, I was going to say, could be in trouble with the player back in Connector as well. If he had been aware of the fact that there was one man lurking Connector, that would have been ideal. Maybe he could have just tried to zero in on him and potentially steal a weapon away, but considering it was a full eco from Order, I don't think they'll be too upset.
Yep. A nice couple of frags there from Jitter. He's the newest addition to this RBG roster. He's only been on this team for a couple of months, but he's been doing okay. And I think that's been the main thing for RBG. As I mentioned, the main core, of Walker and Hex have been together for, I think, just over 2 years now on this team. And, they've been not really had a really solid, stable 5th. And 4th as well. Of course, Chopper's been on this team now for just under a year. So maybe they're starting to get somewhere. And they've made a lot of progress through, the lower tiers in North America. And they've finally got their chance in EU to show up and see if they can do something. And already, obviously, taking this map off of Movistar Riders, as we've mentioned, is such a huge result for them, just in terms of progress. And now we have this first buy round coming in, as we've said. The first kill has already been taken by Walco, and it's an important one as well. As Order is their first buy, Yustilo has to B-hop away from that duel as he tries to answer back. There are 2 players on the site, so if they decide to go in toward A as a group, they'll need to cover all the bases.
Nicely timed smoke in on short as well. Yeah, this push from Valiant actually should confirm that there's not much going on around B. A bit unfortunate they don't have the extra few seconds to go ahead and rotate players over. RBG have definitely made the correct decision to make this move into the bomb site as fast as possible. And Yustilo, unfortunately, is only good for the one from in behind Truck. I'm kind of surprised Vexite's even still moving up. They don't have a kit in play. They only have these 2 weapons that would be very useful to be saved over into the next round. And Chop, apparently, with that smoke even still in place, is going to go ahead and just take out Vexite. It must have been starting to fade at that point. Might have even seen him pop up on the radar.
It was,
but at least from Vexite's position, it didn't look like it so much.
Yeah, that's always a very cheeky play, isn't it? You can sit in smokes, can't you? And often you get the advantage when you're the player sitting in the smoke. And get the cheeky frag. And talking of cheeky frags, Chop has 8 of them so far already. It's not just the pistol round ace that he's had so far. He's keeping that up, and Walco is still yet to die with 3 on this round. 3 big kills from Walco. This one is really fantastic to see from RBG. This is exactly the start they wanted, of course. We know how confident they are here on this map, but they need to make sure they bring it through. And, you know, with Dust 2 coming up, as you say, despite the fact that it's a bit more favoured toward Order, at least in their own region for Order, we have to say that Dust 2's Dust 2. And, you know, anyone can build up a streak of rounds on that map, even with the changes, of course. But that's for later. This is for now. Yeah, see the saved M4 come in, as you see on Valiance. The M4A4, of course. We saw the little video we had yesterday with the players competing in this event. Walco, Taco, Roxic example, talking about what they think about the changes. And it's already a nice shot from Yustilo. And okay, this is now starting to get a little bit out of hand. A nice flash toward Long was pretty good, but Yustilo got his 1 dig anyway. And that's actually going to force RBG back quickly in toward B. And it forces them into Valiance's M4, which has already got 1 kill. It's scary now. They need an entry for Chop, and he does manage to get it. Oh, what a beautiful shot that is. What a tight angle Valiance was playing, but still couldn't get the kill. Really important entry from Chop. And now we're going to go in on the retake from Monster. Will they expect double Monster? Wiz will go looking for it. Catches Ricky first, but he knows there's a second now, and he can't get away from Gyra. It's now all down to Chop, but look at the health. 10 HP on him, but only 16 and 6 on Vexite and Gyra. Can he find a way to win this one out? He's in between both players really right now. He spots the arm of the first, but Gyro just about gets it. Even from Chop's POV, we barely saw Gyro as he just hits the wallbang in the end through the corner of the wooden panel. And they will be able to get the defuse just in time. A nice try from RBG, but in the end, it's Order to grab their first round with a bit of a lower buy.
Yeah, that one's a bit unfortunate. If he was aware they didn't have a kit, maybe he could have tucked away. But even then, I think there was a molly in the hands of Gyra the entire time. That probably would have been just put down to allow him to hop on that defuse. So it was a rough position. Good work, though, from Order, obviously managing to work out the pistol kills around mid and long. But that was a bit of a crazier approach to the round, knowing that they didn't have all of their weapons. It was a bit more carefree. Now they need to start winning out some of these gun rounds. We know RBG obviously are very strong here on this map, judging by the start, but also, again, the matchup that we had over on the A stream the other day versus Movistar. Hex is just charging straight over towards B. Okay, there's no aggression from the CTs. Just wanted to see if he could catch someone maybe around short in on that bomb site. Yeah, focused maybe even towards Monster. And Molly Doe in return is going to slow it down for now, but they're happy enough. They've got themselves this water control. They have a player lurking in connector still, so they can start getting control around here. They have a player in on back mid, so if they want, they can start linking up and taking that batrooms control as well on top of connector. So yeah, really just a pretty standard default coming in. And from on the other hand, rather, there's not really much I was going to say in terms of responses from Order. But as Wiz gives himself up there over on B, things now get a little bit more awkward. The CTs are very happy about that first blood because it makes up for the severe lack of nades that they currently have.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's a tactic we see quite a lot these days, trying to get the AWP to get to entry towards short if you have that short control as T, which is obviously, as usual, very powerful. But unfortunately, Wiz is timing a little bit there. It looks like they want to try and recover the AWP, but at the moment, they're ignoring it on the ground. It would be a secondary AWP for Order, and I'm sure they would take it, especially on a map like Overpass. Now Jetto is creeping in. He needs a couple of entries here. There are still 3 players on the B bomb side. The smoke coming in will help, and a flash to help too. They're going to be walking into Gyro. He gets himself one. Vexite's there to help, and he just can't get past a crossfire like this. Good cleanup from Order. Vexite with 2. And make it 3 in total to finish it off. And that gets them on the board for a second, doubling their score, and they need to get a couple more because RBG still have double their score, but thankfully for them, they're going to be on a bit of a low buy in this one. I think probably going to have a full buy considering their money's a little bit all over the place, and there we go. So we can get, 4 rifles and a scout. That's okay, but it's a bit of a stretch. As we say, just evening out that money is probably the best choice in this situation.
Stillo peeking in on mid. I'm not sure if they threw the molly this time, but a couple of rounds back when they tried to throw that deep mid molly, it actually popped in the air. So it's something they're going to have to keep an eye on, I suppose, in these rounds in the future. For now, though, it does seem like the CTs are not really going to be remaining too aggressive on the A side of things. Instead, the call is to push through B water. Just as Jitter decides, I was going to say that it's time to back away. It would have been the right idea, but no, he slowly creeps back into the angle. Not expecting Vexite up close. It was an easy headshot on the AK. Now with a couple players in connector as well, you can see they're being a bit of a nuisance, spamming through, even doing some good damage onto Chop, who's been so important so far, and now being left on 40 in health, that's definitely not going to help them out. Importantly, though, a minute remaining, they're completely cut off from all control on the B side of the map. It really allows for Order, in theory, to have a good idea about where that bomb will end up. For now, though, still just going to stick with the 2 players around A, and they're not really playing off of each other either.
It's a little bit rough right now. I mean, Ricky's here with the AWP, so he's going to get a lot of the information first, but Hex could creep up on his left-hand side and catch him off guard a little bit. As you said, there's a second player to help out, but it's not really all down to his angle from Ricky, and there's the information, the scout running across the angle. They're actually trying to swap weapons, trying to get the scout on the low HP of Chop, but there are still 2 players here to worry about, and Usillo's just dealing with all of them. Chop's here as well. It should be a third for Usillo, despite something ridiculous. Actually, Chop manages it, despite that flash coming in. The bomb's dropped, though. It's basically all Walker in this situation. There's only 12 seconds to go in this round. Gyro will even find him, and I think Chop realizes that he has to fall away with this AK. Long could be safe, but if he gets taken down after time, he'd only have $400 into the next round, so he needs to keep alive. He will. Order aren't going to hunt because they need to build up their own economy, and it will be a third for the Australians.
Yeah, surprising it's Chop that gets to hang on, considering he'd been low that entire time.
Yeah.
We'd be happy enough to at least have an AK now in this round. It's always awkward, though, when you just have the one-man save over, especially on the T side, when you're not going to get that loss bonus, when you don't really have any loss bonus behind it already either for the rest of the players even. They're only up to 2,400, as you can see. So at max, maybe a couple P250s get pulled out behind this AK. Ideally, you're going to need a bomb plant to try and ensure that Chop is going to get his buy in the next round alongside the rest of his teammates. So we'll see exactly what they're going to go for, as they had a little bit of a chat. There was a moment, a brief pause. And to be fair, if you want that AK in anyone's hands, it'd definitely be Chop right now.
I mean, I think it's probably the best they can do. For me, it's good. Obviously, we actually had the VT, talking about the utility being dropped. But if there was a situation where Chop didn't have the util, you'd say maybe it would be better for him to go in first and look for entries. But of course, that doesn't really happen these days, considering you can all drop them over now. And he probably would be the player to go in last, to try and chuck that utility in for the teammates and then try and trade as the pistols go up. But unfortunately, there are 3 Glocks here, so it's going to make it pretty impossible. We have the 1 Deagle on Jitter. It's all really down to Chop in this round, as you say. If it's the one man to have it, it would be him. Ricky's up close with the AWP. Can he get multi-frags going? No, he can't. He's flanked by Hex, and there's no helmet for Ricky, so the Glock is a one-hit headshot, but they do not expect Usillo coming in from the flank. They at least realise where he is. In the end, he's going to get himself a second as well, doing very good work here. Is Ustillo. Morco's here close toward the site, but unfortunately Hex is in the middle of nowhere with the AWP, and he'll get spammed down from basically 3 different angles. And it will be a clean one for Order. Once again, 4 players remaining alive, and to continue the trend of number 4, it's 4 all.
Yeah, getting it tied up. Already Order not doing too bad in comparison to what we see in Movistar achieving their game on Overpass up against RBG.
Yeah.
It was 7 rounds, if I remember correctly, for Movistar, and considering we're still early days here, I've got to say Order are doing a good job at recovering the CT side. If they can keep this up, Dust 2 coming up next then could be a very interesting time. We'll have to see. Jira going aggressive in on mid. There's already two players bypassed in towards the playground, and Wiz just sitting back finds himself a very tight angle onto the head of Jira, taking a straightforward enough opening. Ustillo, who's been heavily tagged up, is already heavily committed in towards the party here, so he hasn't got much of an option about falling back away, but he makes it work for at least the one kill before he gets caught with a flash in hand. Vexite, I think, at this point is probably at most going to maybe show himself around the bathrooms just to make them cautious of the area as they start moving forward, so that they won't be able to take that map control too freely. But he decides against that, even just backing off, not really taking too much of a risk, doesn't want to be caught out in the open, leaving his two teammates on B alone. Instead, they're going to try and hunker down. There's still a minute remaining. RBG, they've got a bit of time before they themselves actually have to make that commitment happen. And with that, are going to move back to what is about to be an open B bomb site.
Yeah, and Chop is the one this time without the gun, only the Tech 9, but it'll be just as powerful on a B take. And they're actually going to go in for a bit of contact here. Not really many nades being thrown in, and it could be the right call, as you say. The site's actually open right now. It's only Ricky toward heaven. They need to smoke for this position quickly, otherwise he could be in prime position to get some kills, and finally that smoke will come in. So they'll be able to get a clean bomb plant here, RBG, and the question now remains for Order is, do you actually want to go for this? You've got money built up, but this Tech 9 kill will be the key, and there we go. Vexite takes it. So now this opens it up for the opportunity to go for this retake. They have a few grenades to work with as well. That incendiary will clear out water, at least the water cubby. The Hex is boosted up on the corner, and he has a crossfire with a teammate as well. Jitter's coming late through Monster, but Vexite will still find him. That is a really big kill. It's now all down to Hex, and all the kills are coming through for Order. Nothing at all for RBG in the end, despite the bomb plant. That is incredibly clean for Order, and surprisingly so.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how Vexite was able to get away with that kill there, dropping down from Connector. Seemed like it was almost a certain frag for the man in towards the mini monster. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it was Jitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was so bewildered by him losing out the fight that I forgot who it was, if I'm being honest. Either way, to Order now, they've gotten themselves some pretty good momentum rolling. Downside to that is the loss bonus at least is going to be there for RBG, so especially if they can get bomb plants, those buys are going to keep coming. But for now, it's the rounds that keep on coming the way of Order. 5-4, they've got the lead going. Let's see whether they can perhaps even extend it now. A little bit of a switch up on where they're focusing actually on this T side with the default. We've seen it mostly over towards B around water and such. Instead, it's going to be a little bit in towards mid this time. The previous time they went for this, actually, we just seen the push from Order, so we didn't really see the default itself play out. So this is the first time they really get the move forward with it still being the 5-on-5.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, right? As Ricky, I think, is half blind for that kill toward Wiz. That's unfortunate. I was about to make a point about you can't walk through smokes, and, well, you know, it's been proved exactly why. Ustillo will easily take on as well, and that already makes it a 3 versus 5. Thankfully, as I said, for RBG, getting that bomb plant means they could afford this buy in this round, but right now it's already looking like a bit of a nightmare. With a minute on the clock, they are out of smokes already. Only 2 flashes and 2 Molotovs remaining. And yeah, this is a big problem for them now. Of course, I mentioned that these guys are incredibly good on Overpass, but of course, with it being the first game of the day, you can often be a little bit of a slow start, especially starting on that T side when you pick a map as well. It's not something that really should affect these guys, but, you know, still, being the first game of the day can always have some sort of mini effect. Hex is about to throw this Molotov, and Ustillo will surely pounce here as he hears it coming in. They have no idea he's still close on the bar. He's not even going to be checked. Easy double headshot towards Chop. And now even chucking that Molotov down to protect himself even longer. It activates Ricky to deal with Hex, and now it's all Jitter. And I think Ustillo has an idea where he's playing from as well. Will he check the bathrooms? He's refusing to budge at the moment. It's important to stay with all 5 alive, and actually, he does manage to take Gyra. But Ustillo gets his 3k. Very nice. And they survive with 4 alive again.
This is what you need from them. Vexite's economy, Ricky's economy, Ustillo's economy, all building up into fantastic positions. It's only really one man being Jira there who could do a little bit more in the reserve, but he'll have his chances. Especially now with it, again, not even being the full buy for RBG. They're just stuck on towards pistols. Decent amount of utility at least behind it. See what the plan is. I was thinking maybe a quicker play. Could still be the case. But for now, sending a player in towards mid, one connector, and yeah, seeming to just send it out on a default once again. They might be able to catch some aggression, though. I'm a little bit surprised. Are Order expecting a buy here? Because going aggressive against the pistols isn't always too necessary, and it could backfire. Wiz not quite catching the time, and that is unfortunate. The back for a second looked like it was up for the taking, and it could have been a weapon then to be snatched away to give them a much better opportunity. But again, we'll see what these pistols can do. Chop slowed down. We definitely need to see him getting going once again when he gets those guns back in his hands, rather.
Yeah.
Obviously, 5 back in the pistol round since then. He has doubled his kills, so he's been keeping on par, basically, with his teammates. But considering that pistol round, I think he can maybe give us a bit more.
It's hard to keep it. Always hard to keep it going after getting an ace in the first round of the day, quite literally. It was a great double nade toward B, by the way. I think it was Vexite playing Monster. They got completely eaten up by those double grenades, down to 13 HP. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like RBG is going to get a kill, and they're just rewards for that damage. Tech 9, a big spin from Ustillo, actually misses that in the end, and War goes down to 1 HP after winning that duel with the P250. He's up close, but he's going to get caught from Bank. And then we know where these players are coming from. Deagle out, realising that you can take a little bit more time on this one. Gyra takes Chop, and he'll even get the last as well. Just getting that 1 point of health done and dusted. And that's 7-4, 3's the gap now, and we're starting to get a little bit worried if you're an RBG supporter. They were, as we said, they were so good the other day against Movistar. I believe they won Overpass 16-7, and as you mentioned, Dean, Overpass isn't necessarily a bad map for Movistar. So it shows how good they are on it, not just in their own region, but also outside of it. But they need to keep it up. It can't just be a one-off, right? Otherwise, it will just be seen as a bit of an outlier. If Order beat them today, then that's what it will look like.
It can be hard to tell with only a few games, in fairness. So
exactly.
It's a position here where, honestly, I don't want to see either of these teams having to go home today and being knocked out here in this lower bracket so we could get more from them. But unfortunately, that is how things work out. One of these teams will be eliminated. Nice kill by Jitter. There was only a small bit of the back shown, but that's going to be plenty for him. At least to do a small bit of damage. The counter spams now not actually on. That looked on just as it was swapping off. Apparently not. Ricky should have this catch. Not going to be catching it in time as the flash pops off. He decided to kind of halt it for a moment, expecting the peak to come his direction instead. It's only the one lurker, though. So Ustillo, as he's pushing forward as well, they should be good to catch this kill. No, Walco turns around. The op at least is there for the trade, and now they're all moving back in this direction. So Ricky, he could slow them down quite a bit with even just 1 or 2 more kills, but he's not able to make that happen. Instead, it's Wiz who opens it up. It's Molly's towards that A-bomb site. Jared just about in position as he tucks in behind Optimus, but what can he do as the Molly goes down? It's a flash over from Vexite to try and hold on strong, using those flames to obstruct the vision just a small bit, but Chop swings in wide, and with that should confirm the room for the bomb to be planted.
That was very tight indeed, but of course they can afford to go for it, and Vexite's caught Chop. It's now a very tough situation for Wiz. Close up with the AWP, he can't get the kill, and now it's all down to Jitter. They know where he is, and it's a good spray from Valiance, just recovering it in the end. Oh my goodness, RBG, you had a 3 versus 2. I feel like that's one you should not be giving up in any way, shape or form. And that is a rough one. Of course, Wiz being the one to plant the bomb in that situation when he has the AWP close up like that, it makes it so difficult. And that's just a sort of a combination of unfortunate situations there in that afterplant. Position's not really gained yet. Order tried to pounce as quickly as possible. And it was the right play before RBG got into their favoured angles. I really love the awareness of Walco toward long there to catch that first player of Ustillo flanking. But of course, there's no way you expect Ricky as well. Wiz did great to take him down, but in the end, it doesn't go rewarded. And it's 8-4 for Order. Looking good.
I think RBG will probably be kicking themselves. The initial kill for Walco on the flanker, as you said, on Ustillo, even though he's traded then, it still gave them the opportunity to get into that bomb site with a man advantage as the bomb went down. And they're not able to close it out. Instead, it's Order who just keep on racking up the rounds. I believe now having taken the 8 in a row ever since they won out that round with the pistols quite a while back. Yep. Molly over towards Monster. I believe it will force one of the players out into the open. No, not quite. They're actually both able to stay tucked in, but it doesn't help them really because they can't go any wider without burning and giving their positions away. Because of that, just swung on. And although Vexite, again, does a pretty good job to get 2 kills in on the bomb site, I don't think it will be quite enough. It's another 3-on-2 when the bomb goes down. Ricky and Jared to try and give it a go, it seems, considering they have the money. Well, Jerry's waiting for the flash over, catches one player as the smoke fades, gets the second for himself. I'm not sure how he's gotten away with that. He's given Ricky a chance now. Wiz just tucks in behind the pillar. I think he may have spotted him right there. Either way, waiting for the footsteps to get closer, playing off at a time. And, well, as he peeks in, he ends up getting flicked on. Ricky, he takes them over the finish line up to a 9th round, but it's Jira who's the savior of that round. How does he get 2 kills? Standing on the sandbags in the smoke. They're surrounding him. There was players on both sides of him. That just shouldn't be possible.
I would love to have seen that from his POV. That must have been a spray transfer and a half there with the M4A4. But that is, again, unfortunately, RBG shooting themselves in the foot there, really. They should not have been losing that round. Again, they had a situation in the previous, and they've had a very similar one in this as well. Just where they shouldn't have lost those jewels. Wiz maybe a little bit nervy there, just dry peeking Ricky, expecting him to perhaps be a little bit further up right, because he already spotted the arm behind the sandbags, maybe expecting him to be shifting up with the AWP rather than being that far back. But still, it's a really nice shot from Ricky, but Wiz couldn't hit the headshot first, even though he got the drop on him. And some nervy situations from RBG in this game, realizing that perhaps they should be doing better right now, and falling by the wayside a little bit. This is a great CT half from Order so far. They've won all the clutch rounds, basically. That's 2 2v3s in a row, right, Dean? I believe, in after plant situations. Yeah. That's horrible stuff for RBG. Can they recover now? They're going to need to probably take this one. And the last, only a couple of rounds left in the half. 9-6 would be ideal. 4 toward long this time, but there's a player up close.
Only the 1, though. So this could be difficult for Ustilo in terms of escaping if he doesn't get away with a couple of kills. And, well, there you go. It works out quite well. Catches the boost up of Hexed. And then off the back of that was just ready for the follow-up swing and is good to at least take Walco with him as well. So a man advantage. Not a bad find for Order. And it's actually one of the few times we've seen them find this early advantage in the round. As you pointed out, the last 2 rounds have been positions where they've had to fight in from behind on those retakes, which is never easy. This time a little bit less pressure as they just have to hold onto this A-bomb site. 2 players in position. Bit of utility as well in terms of flashes still being in place to potentially slow that push down. And actually that op shot landed, I believe, on the Wiz, so he's going to be tagged up to 41. With that, it helps the Valiants have a bit of an easier finish, and, well, they're going to run through the smoke right into his crosshair. There is no struggle at all to hold strong. 3 for Valiants on the A-bomb site, hold to bring them up to 11, and, well, just looking really at the scoreboard for Order, everyone's contributing on a near equal level at the moment. It really is what you want to see from them. But this has just been ridiculous. It was a good start from RBG. They went up, I believe it was 4-0 even initially, and since then have just been getting absolutely demolished. It seems like they're ramming their head repeatedly into a wall. That's probably what it feels like as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one, it has to be said. I mean, to be fair to RBG in that round, that is a little bit unfortunate, the situations they come through. I mean, you still are getting that double spray down, right? He gets the first, which is normal. You would expect to get 1 kill from that position. It is sort of a one and done area. But they line up for that second, which is pretty horrible. And look at this. Even though the triple nades come in, they're going to try and pounce on toward Monster, and it's going to work out perfectly for them. Vexite with 2 again. He's been so nuts with the multi-kills on the B site. And now it's all down to Jitter. Will he be feeling the jitters? It is the last round of the half. It is a 1 versus 3. He knows where 2 of these players are. And the bomb is dropped in Monster in Vexite's possession. It's basically impossible to deal with. I'm going to try and creep through, perhaps to look for the duel toward Vexite, but that smoke is still going to be up for now. Spraying through that smoke, of course. No tracers on that silenced M4. And even Ricky here to support as well with the crossfire. It's basically impossible. There's nothing you can do about this. He'll walk into Ricky. And it will be a very impressive 11-4 half for Order. We'll see you after the break to see if RBG can somehow get back into Overpass. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Order versus RBG. It's been a rough first half for RBG, it has to be said. A couple of situations out of their control, a couple that they could have rectified, but mostly it's been the insane fragging from Order that has kept them in this lead. RBG will be looking back at some of that first half thinking, oh, what could have been? Don't forget, this is the elimination match in the lower bracket. Whoever wins will go through to play LDLC for a one more chance. Can RBG make a good fist of the second half, Dean?
Well, I'm hoping for it, because otherwise I don't really see where their chances are going to come. I mean, Dust 2, always a bit of a risky one, and could go either way in theory, but this is their map where we expected RBG to have a straightforward win, and so far it's not happening, and it doesn't look like this pistol round is going to turn the tide either. The B-bomb site's being overrun, it's Wiz and Jitter, as they feel the jitters at the moment with the nerves setting in. And well then, I mean, I think that was Ricky jumping in behind them right there. He was basically on their head, swerving around from behind. 12-4, quick pistol round straight in towards B. Nothing crazy being done, but it puts Order in a position now to head up very likely 14-4 as long as they don't falter against this force buy. Lots of Fs in there, Jesus.
Yeah, that was a weird pistol actually from Order. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if that strategy of having that one player jumping up and down on the back steps, right, where you can just see the foot as a CT, was intended or not, because it was a bit of a fake, right, in the end, because it made a crosshair adjustment that have to come in to deal with the players who were close left as they pounced, and in the end so much damage was done, but no headshots could be hit, and headshots are the important thing on pistol rounds. If you're 4 on 11 HP, doesn't matter. It's 100 to kill, and RBG couldn't get that. They're on a force buy, of course. They've got 5.7s, in fact 3 5.7s, 1 Deagle and a Scout. It's nice to see more of the 5.7s in play. Of course, they are very powerful. One hit headshot from close range, and I would say, weirdly, maybe even better than the Deagle at the moment, considering the 3 hit body spam has to come in for the Deagle. They're going to be walking down towards Connector, though, and Walker's going to get 1, make that 2. This is such a powerful position for the pistol. He does make it happen. What did I say? 5.7 does get 2, and that is probably enough in that position. It gives them an advantage to work with, and this is, honestly, with the scoreline as it is, could be a must-win round.
Probably is a must-win round, to be honest, yeah. This force buy kind of needs to work out, otherwise 14-4 is where it goes. Giving them maybe 1 gun round at max, unless, especially if it doesn't work out, rather. This is going to be tough, actually, though. Jitter's able to land another 5.7 headshot. As you said, those weapons can be pretty scary to deal with, mostly at close range. But using it there at mid-range, Jitter was able to make do. They have one player actually trapped in the pit, which Valiant deals with. Vexite then catches Chop coming in on the flank, and suddenly Wiz is left alone. What looked to be a round potentially for RBG begins to crumble. We've seen this before. The USB gets so close to making it work, though, as one more shot to the body maybe would have done it there towards Vexite. It's a close call on the USB. If he had found the head, it definitely would have. But unfortunately, getting close enough just really isn't going to be good enough anymore. As I said, now it should be heading 14-4 before we see the guns for RBG. And I just want to note, we could potentially be looking at a lower bracket Aussie matchup in the third round. If Order are able to get their win here, they still would have to take down LDLC, and then Renegades would also have to take down the winner of the Vizsla Krakow versus Eternal Fire game. But there's a small chance it could happen. That would be interesting.
So you're saying there's a chance. That would be a banger for sure. But yeah, while the full eco is on, I can talk a little bit about, just in general, how things have really gone for RBG in this game, because I feel a bit bad for them in a way. I'm incredibly impressed by Vexite and Ustillo, especially in this game so far. Of course, the other 2 players with the highest amount of kills, and Valiant has had some very important rounds as well, but still, we even had Gyro getting that spin right on the sandbags on the corner of the boost on the B site, and that was one of the, I think, 3 rounds for that first half for RBG where you could look back on and say, okay, we've messed up here. You've lost a 3 versus 2 after plant, not in the correct positions to really hold for it smartly enough. Would have pounced right pretty quickly on those retakes, and it caught RBG off guard. There was a couple which were a bit down to luck in the end, with some lineups coming in for Ustillo on long. I think it was around after that where they had a 3 versus 4 where Valiant's got a spray down. Yeah, at the moment, really, things just aren't going for RBG, and we've spoken about how they took down Movistar yesterday on this map. Would it really matter if in the scale of things, if they now lose to Order incredibly comfortably, you just have to look at it and say, okay, maybe it was a little bit of an outlier. But I can tell you one thing for certain: Order have shown up today.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the possibility that that was a bad game from Movistar, but I feel like this is more so just a really good game from Order and maybe a slightly off one in terms of the individuals for RBG because they are
Yeah.
really struggling. I mean, again, this was 4-0 at one point for RBG. It's now been 14 rounds in a row for Order. Imagine if they had have actually kicked it off with the pistol round going in their favor. This could have been even worse for RBG. It's just not how we expected it to play out. This could be scary and Connector, though. It's a Mac 10 and he catches both of them. Ustillo just walks through Walco and Wiz. And with that, they might even have time to get on towards A. Chop is only just about going to get into position and is forced even to run through the molly, sustaining a small bit of damage. Will it matter? Perhaps. Definitely could do if those AKs are coming into a bit of a body spam battle, but it seems like it's going to be the op of Ustillo that actually probes around the bomb site itself, looking for another opening kill. They are slightly slowing it down, surprisingly. It's actually allowed a second player even now to get into position, so this one's a little bit strange. As you can see now, RBG are ready for the push to come in. I feel like that one kill now has forced Order to reconsider. Strange sending them the one player there when they weren't quite ready.
Yeah, and they're sending in just the AWP as well on Ustillo. That was a bit of an odd choice. But I guess maybe at 14-4, you can afford to take a little bit of a risk to try and make something happen and finish off this game. You do have rounds to play with. And in this round in particular, they have 40 seconds to play with. Chop, Jitter, and Hext still alive. Chop is still on this A-bomb site. It's funny, right? He got that ace in the pistol round. And that's been really the only highlight for RBG thus far. Didn't see it going that way after that first round. They are going to be grouping up toward A in the end. 20 seconds to go. A smoke for that long corner. But Chop is still here. Can he get some more frags going? He can. Important second. Third in total. But Vexite's here again. Goodness me. How consistent has Vexite been? That must be... Is that his fourth or fifth duo kill? It has to be. There's been so many on the CT side toward B, and now we're getting to see it on the T side as well. Hex will finally take him down, and now it's all down to Valiance. Hex does have a kit, so he can afford to take his time. Hasn't spotted the head on the corner of the site, finally does. A call from a teammate, perhaps, and now it's a very tight 1 versus 1. Who will win this out? Looks for the angle, and just about wins it out. A critical one for RBG. It was a must-win. 5 on the board, but only just.
Yeah, they broke the streak of rounds there as well that Order had been on. They're not going to be able to take 16 in a row for the victory, even if it wouldn't have been the 16-0.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're happy that that's come in. And at the very least now, need to start taking a few rounds in a row to warm themselves up and to get ready for just two. Ideally, of course, would obviously love to make a comeback happen here. Take it a round at a time and see if you can get there. But at the very least, we need to see those individuals just getting going so that we can have them come back in and potentially still make this a series. As we said, Dust 2 is one that, although has been picked by the boys on Order, could still be a little bit risky, could still go either way in theory because it is Dust 2. RBG, I think, have had some decent matchups as well within their own region. They've lost their last couple of games, as I mentioned, against MIBR and Team 1, but before that, up against other American teams, tended to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Nuke, on the other hand, though, we mentioned that could be a little bit rough. It's more of a middle ground. It's slightly better statistically for Order, but RBG have played it a little bit more.
Yep. A little side note for this game so far as well. One, that previous round, I really don't like the idea, just personally, from RBG to go for a connector setup of 2 players when you know that Order are going to be on a bonus round with a Mac 10. I think that's always incredibly risky. And it doesn't really set up your AWP that great either. And Wiz is only on 6 and 15 so far. I mean, a bit of a rough game. Ricky's been countering pretty comfortably, and he's been getting pretty destroyed on most of the angles he's been holding, so it's a rough one for him. And already in this round, Order are very, very fast up towards short. 1 player standback's already. Balance is here to help out. Spots 2 in water, but now they compete together, and once again, Vexite gets both kills. Goodness me, how many times has he got that multi-kill? But at this time, it may not matter. It's a really important recovery from Jitter to get 2 of his own. And they do recover the man advantage. 2 left for Order, Ustillo and Gyra. It's going to be tough to recover this one. Thankfully, they do have the bomb in their possession, but they are a little bit split up right now.
Yeah, which isn't ideal when already outnumbered. They will be moving back towards B together here, and this aggression in on B, I was going to say, could be caught off guard by Ustillo, but no! Jitter actually catches Ustillo taking out the smoke, I believe, to toss in towards Heaven, judging by his position, and unfortunately he's not going to get it out. It would have been pretty helpful to his teammate moving in from Monster to avoid that upper. Although for now, there's no peaks really coming in from Wiz. He was playing it really passively, not wanting to give any chances over after how this game has been going so far for them. Jira, though, has to be fairly fast with getting this bomb planted. He does have a smoke that could be used, but for now, he's just going to try and put it down a little bit wider on the angle. Doesn't get spotted initially, but I believe he should have been seen there as the peak had come in. The smoke slightly blocking the angle. Wiz deciding, okay, I don't really want to fight this anymore, and some decent damage even being done on Jitter. Exactly, he's in the open here. He's open to, exposed to an angle at pretty much all times. And for now has been managing to stay alive and is even going to push up into the spawn, catches Wiz, swings back to see Jitter coming in from short and only needed one bullet to the body. So it is indeed fortunate for Walco that he wasn't able to get it off, because if it comes down to Walco there in the one-on-one with the bomb planted for back in the spawn as well, things would have gotten very, very scary.
Oh goodness me! I mean, that was nervy to watch. I can't imagine how it would have been for RBG. The amount of damage done to Jitter, of course, it's Jitter's round. He gets a big 4K to sort of even up his KD with the rest of his teammates, and he is the key factor. But almost got taken down, as you say. If Gyro does hit that clean spray, and somehow, don't ask me how, Wiz didn't peek him from heaven. By the way, it was the tightest angle. You saw the X-ray. I'm amazed he wasn't spotted so quickly. But still, again, it keeps RBG going for now. Order still have a lead of 14-6, but now RBG have a chance to build up one of their own. Of course, CT side Overpass is a lot more favourable than the T side, especially these days with the buff to the Silenced M4, making it even more the case. He still has already been tagged by the AWP of Wiz, I believe, down to 16 HP. And actually, he has a Glock and armor, which is a bit of a weird one. Maybe he's dropped his pistol over to a teammate, considering he is so low. I doubt he bought up the armor just with the Glock. Maybe there was a teammate who had a Glock, and I think it might have been Ricky, and so he has the Deagle now with no armor of his own. They're going to try and flash themselves in toward A. Already got a peek coming in from Wiz. Time for him to do some fragging, build up some confidence perhaps on the AWP. Get dinked down already though. Now 9 HP. Walko needs to come and help out. Thankfully Jitter is here too, and he'll get himself 2 of his own. Chop even gets 1 as well. And Valiance will clear up the last. So there's the 7, but Order still have double the score of RBG. It's still very much in their favour, but they're going to have a bye coming up now.
You must have a big fan of graphs in the production.
Yes. The team economy graphic, there we go.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a rude one. Not a rude one, an unpredictable graphic, that one, so far in our few days.
It's been reoccurring, yeah. I think we had it once yesterday as well, and maybe a couple of times on the first day. Gets stuck every now and again, and probably have to do a quick off and on. Fixes most things. But yeah, 14-7. RBG 3 rounds now in a row. They're getting a bit of momentum back, as I said, even if this doesn't lead to the victory. Just making things a little bit closer and getting themselves ready for what is going to be a tough Dust 2 ahead of them would be ideal. As Walco's about to find some action in towards Connector. The smoke's down, so in theory his teammates can spray through to try and help him out afterwards. But they're not really going to get much of a chance, as Walco himself doesn't even manage to take the fight. He's flashed in on and immediately overrun.
I think it was Wiz's, right? I think it was Wiz's flash. I think the call came in. Okay, I'm flashing con for you, and he turned for it. But as soon as he turns, he's peaked. Pretty unfortunate. And now Chop has no choice but to really play a little bit more aggressive in bathrooms. But of course, the silencer of the A1S will stick out, as you can see. Wiz giving you a perfect view of that. Thankfully, he's holding the angle to defend his teammate. Vexite holding the angle as well, but Wiz just about gets that kill. Gyro will trade that M4, as I say, but now Wiz is activated, and that's what we want to see if you're an RBG fan. Valiance and now will have to go back in toward B. Ricky will actually catch Jitter, though. That's a really good pick. Not expecting him to go back looking for that. And it recovers it back into a 2 versus 2. Wiz, with the 2 kills in the round so far, Hexton chucking this incendiary for the bomb, at least area of the pillar. But Wiz toward heaven, looking for something. Can't see it yet. AWP v AWP is going to come into play at some point in this retake. Wiz and Hext both have the defuse kits. But Ricky and Valiance are playing off of each other. Good angles being held by both here. I don't think they'll expect the AWP to be in water. And Valiance gets the first. It's now all down to Wiz. Knows where Ricky is. I think he now knows where both of them are. But retaking with an AWP at this angle, shooting down is so difficult. And there's no way you can get away from it. Ricky gets the kill. Up to 14 for him. And up to 15 for Order.
Yeah, finally getting that map point, and with that, the security of course, at least confirming the overtime. Didn't take them too long, to be fair. Only 3 rounds in a row before they finally did find it for themselves. But still, even with the round win coming through, as you can see, the economy is not quite perfect, so they have a couple of Galils even in play. They're still going to be working with a slightly better buy, though, of the two, I'm going to say. Walco's stuck on a 5-7, even with that fantastic double kill he got earlier on in Connector. I don't think he'd really be favouring that weapon over an M4 if he could have afforded it. A bit more aggression, restrict some control, take control of water over on B, as you can see. Force Order just back out of position for now. Doesn't really seem like anything too crazy, rather, is going to be done. They'll move in for the default once that smoke begins to fade away. They have one player in Connector who's been way more cautious after how some of these previous rounds have gone.
Yeah.
I think they're just expecting some aggression in general to come in right now from RBG, knowing maybe that buy is a little bit weaker and that the nades won't all be there.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, with the 5-7 and 4 M4s, it's not the strongest buy you'd want to save a game. Just holding a nice angle though, and that's one that I like to play myself. Always seems to get you one if you're not completely blind, of course. And he will get his one kill. And now look at this flank coming in. Hex actually manages to get that one kill before Ricky spins on him. So 3 versus 2 to work with. Walker, of course, does not have much to work with himself, just that pistol. But that 3 versus 2, and they have a good chance at keeping this game alive for a little while longer. Jitty will just peek straight into Ricky, and that's a really nice find. And now it's just Vexite in 1 versus 3. If there's anyone to win this clutch, to be fair, it would be Vexite. I think he's had... I've been looking back a little bit as a recount to see how many multi-frags he's had. I think it is above 6. I'm pretty sure. I think he had 3 or 4 on the CT side, on the B side. And he's had 1 or 2, especially on the T side entering as well. So, yeah, he's been nuts. But unfortunately, nothing he can do in that situation when you get flanked by a silenced M4. So, RBG will stay alive. And it does force Order down to pistols. So... this one will be going on for a little bit while longer.
Yeah, and again, that's what we want for RBG. Flash over from Walco. He can smell the Glocks. That's what's going on.
Exactly.
Eco frags. be ideal. Yeah, be ideal to get a few eco frags at this point, though, after having such a rough game. It always feels good. If you're having a bit of a slower game, you get yourself 3 or 4 on that eco, and you're feeling like you can do anything then, and then you get slapped in the next gun round, but we'll forget about that part.
Of course.
But, but for now, anyway, we'll see. Glocks and 1 Deagle, looking to just try and use the numbers. Walco's not really going to find those numbers, though. It's just one man who moves into the bathrooms. Stillo's gotten miles ahead of everyone else somehow, and there's no one on the bomb site itself.
This is a bit scary.
Oh, he's just going to tuck in. Head
down, of course, to obscure his head. Player model, like a nice little view there from our observer. Appreciate that. Unfortunately, it doesn't help him. Weird spots it. But of course, there are multiple situations and positions on various maps where if you put your head down, you won't be spotted. And that is one of them. Trying to catch up a player, maybe going a little bit aggressive against the pistols. Now it's down to Wiz to try and stop these players advancing. Gets an important first. He spots the last 2 as well. He always had Walco to help towards long. Doesn't need to peek now. Chop can help out. And it will be 9. But yeah, nice to see them get to double digits. I think that would be a sort of a fair representation of this game so far if they did get to double digits. But I think overall, they'd only have themselves to blame for that first half, losing those couple of 2 versus 3s in a row. Or 3 versus 2, sorry, from their POV in a row. And it keeps a timeout being called now for Order, looking to try and discuss exactly what they want to do on this one. Of course, T-side overpass can be a bit of a cruel mistress sometimes. We need to get just that one more to steal the map pick away. And as you say earlier, Dean, with Dust 2 coming up next, we could be looking for a surprising 2-0.
Potentially. I mean, RBG are definitely looking much, much better now. With the individuals that we're getting here on their CT side, I could see standing up on Dust 2. If we were to get what we got in that first half, then I think it would be a very quick map number 2. So we'll have to see exactly how it plays out. I think it kind of comes down to, as you said, the first map of the day, RBG seemed to clearly start off a little bit slower, despite having initially the 4-0 lead. Even once they got shut out, once they lost against those pistols, it seemed to be just way too demoralizing. But they've got their feet back firmly on the ground for now. Will they stay there? That's the question. A bit of a slower default coming in from Order. Focus, though, has been shifted about a little bit. It's going to be mostly over towards the A side of things. And well, RBG have actually gone for the double setup over on long. One tucked in up close, pushed down deep, and then obviously an op back on the half wall itself there that'll be able to go ahead and take the initial point of contact. So I like this, but it does mean they're pretty heavily committed.
Of course. I mean, do you remember that there used to be a bike on long, right, on that right-hand side cubby, which you could sort of sit behind as a CT? I think they removed that, if I'm not mistaken.
I never noticed somehow.
It was a long time ago, to be fair, but they did remove it because it was a bit hard for visibility. But we're just going to do some more work here with the AWP, and oh, surely you would have thought he would have pulled the trigger a bit sooner than that. And because he doesn't, Vexite punishes him. But there's no way Ricky's going to expect a club player close long. Never mind, he does!
Sorry, what?
Orko goes down as well. And I've been proved wrong once again. You love to see it. Hex will at least take Valiant, so that's something. But they now have a group up and go back toward B. Hex will upgrade his gun to the AK. Vexite's lurking around the A site right now. Chop might go hunting for something, and that would be walking into Vexite if he goes to his left, but no. Smoke will be chucked in, and that's the information that he'd want. Does he check behind him? No way. And Chop punishes it. But it will be a B play coming in. It was just a fake from Vexite. Can Ricky and Ustillo, the OG duo of this team, hold a 2 versus 3? Bomb's taking a while to go down, but it will just be planted in time with 4 seconds to go. They have a 2 versus 2 now to work out. Jitter has advanced a little bit further toward the sandbags. But Ustillo has got himself into a very good spot right now. It could work out for this map victory. Ricky's looking towards Short and Monster, who has to cover both right now. That's a bit tough, but he will have good timing toward the one. A good flick from Ricky. 2 on the round for him, and now it's all down to Jitter. And Ustillo's got such a powerful position from heaven. They can just play off of each other now. The experienced duo of Team Order are working this one out. Jitter will advance past the smoke, but he'll get caught in the back by Ustillo. A fantastic map of Counter-Strike and of Overpass from the Aussies.